Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We're just gonna go over some basic stats over today's game. The loss of the Houston Texans. We lost 26-7, or we had 7. But yeah, let's just go over some basic stats for player stats, and I'll go over team stats as well. So let's start with Kyle Allen. He started off the game. He played only the first quarter. He went 5 for 5. He had 66 yards, a TD, and a perfect passer rating. For the remaining 3 quarters, we had Hendon Hooker. He went 6 for 11, 70 yards, and an INT. He didn't play too well. I think it's pretty obvious after today's game is basically going to be Kyle Allen, who's going to be QB2. So, yeah, it's not fun, but we'll see what happens. We'll see on Tuesday if they keep Hooker as a QB3 or if they just keep two QBs. For rushing, we didn't have much action. Jacob Sailors played a good game. He had 9 carries for 32 yards, 3.6 in average. And Craig Reynolds, he didn't have much of a great game either. He had 5 carries for 12 yards. But yeah, rushing game wasn't that crazy or exciting. In our receiving, we didn't have much playmakers, but we had Tesla. He had 2 receptions for 41 yards and a TD. But yeah, Jackson Meeks and Lovett, they didn't really pop off this game. I don't know why, but they did have a couple targets. Dominic had 2 targets and Meeks had 1. They both didn't get any receptions. But overall, it was a pretty okay receiving core. It wasn't great, but it was okay. And yeah, overall, even our defense, Lawrence Strickland led our defense with 9 total tackles, a tackle for loss. Trevor Nowaski, he had 9 total tackles and 1 QB hit. And yeah, and Tussle Russell had a pass defended, and AQM had basically a tackle for loss and a sack. And Tyson Russell also had an INT. So overall, it was okay defense we had, but I know we got gushed through the running game and passing game as well. But we'll go over those stats shortly. But yeah, overall, nothing crazy. Many players that popped off. I would say it's pretty confident seeing how Isaac Tesla played. So we'll see. I'm guessing he's going to be wide receiver 3 later on the season. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah. Now let's go over some team stats. So first downs, they had 28 first downs to our 9, which is pretty insane. And passing first downs, they had 13, we had 7. Rushing first downs, they had 13, and we had 2, which is insane as well. So we didn't really get much first downs. We didn't move the ball as well. But yeah, I mean, the times when Kyle Allen was in, we did play well. We got the TD, but other than that, it wasn't really great. It's an okay game, but yeah. And on third down, we went 1 for 7. They went 9 for 12. So again, we didn't do much. On fourth down, they didn't go for it at all. We went for it on 2 times, and we didn't get it at all. In total plays, they had 71 total plays, and we had 36. So yeah, they had basically almost double our total plays. They had double our total plays. Total yards, they had 400 yards to our 186. So yeah, they basically doubled in most categories. I think the really important stat is time of possession. They had 40 minutes to our 20 minutes. They basically doubled their time of possession. They basically just controlled the clock. In our rushing, I did want to go look at rushing. They had 150 yards rushing, and we had 72. They had 38 rushing attempts to our 17. They had 3.9 yards per rush, and we had 4.2. So our run defense, we should be able to keep it that below at 3.0. But for our because we have a higher 4.2 because of Hendon Hooker's 20-yard run. But overall, it was an okay game. We didn't do much offensively, even defensively. But yeah, it wasn't a great look for certain players that were trying to make the squad. But yeah, we'll see Tuesday on how things go. But yeah, next I'll talk about my 53-man roster and who I think will make the team and who I think it will not. So I'll just go over that real quickly. So for my 53-man roster, I'll just go over the positions and the players. So for the QB position, I expect to have 2 QBs. Jared Goff, and Allen, basically. For running backs, I expect to have 4 running backs: Gibbs, Monty, Craig, and Faki. And I expect 4 running backs. It depends. They might have 3 running backs. It just depends. But for my personal take on it, I think they'll have 4. For wide receivers, I think they'll keep 6. So St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Isaac Tesla, Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, and Jackson Meeks. It depends. They might keep 7 if Lovett, if they want to keep Lovett, but we'll see what happens. For tight ends, I expect them to keep 3. Sam Laporta, Wright, Shane Zylstra. For the old line, I expect to keep 10 offensive linemen. So I'll go over it real quickly. So Taylor Decker as our left tackle, Christian Mahogany left guard, Graham Glasgow center, Tate Ratledge right guard, Penei Sewell left tackle. Then from behind them, I expect to have Dan Skipper, Kawadi Awasiki, Jamarco Jones, Manu, Kingsley, and I expect them to have Miles Frazier on IR to start the season. So those are just my basic cards. Of course, behind them, I don't really know. It's kind of wishy-washy based on who you might put in and whatnot. But I'm not really confident on the depth that we have at O-line. But I hope it can play out well. But yeah, for the D-line, I expect to have 10 D-linemen. I expect to have Aiden Hutchinson, AQM, DJ Reader, Tyleek Williams, Davenport, Roy Lopez, Makai Wingo, Nate Lynn, Keith Cooper Jr., and I expect them to start have Aleem on the IR to start the season. Some questionables are maybe Miles Adams, Pat O'Connor, Uku, or Agude. But yeah, it really just depends. Of course, we've seen Keith Cooper really perform well, and Nate Lynn too. We'll see on Tuesday on what they do between Lynn, Agude, and Uku. We don't know on how they will finalize that, depending on how they played. But just based off of me seeing the games, I feel like Nate Lynn really deserved that spot over Agude and Uku. But yeah, of course, our team loves to stop the run compared to the pass rush. So we'll see. Of course, Josh Pascal is going to take longer. So we'll see on how they operate with that. And Ahmed, we don't really know if it's a full season-ending injury or if it's short-term. I think on his Instagram, he did say that was a little short-term. So hopefully it doesn't last too long. Then for linebackers, I expect to have 6 linebackers: Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Grant Stewart. He played phenomenal in these preseason games, so I especially expect him to have a greater load or greater impact on the team as well, referring to being a depth piece. Zach Cunningham and Trevor Nowaski. And I expect them to have Malcolm Rodriguez on the IR, especially. I think he's going to come like November, I believe. But yeah, I feel like the linebacker depth is not bad. I feel like we have a solid overall linebacking core. And especially when Malcolm Rodriguez comes back, that's going to be a really great room from top to bottom. Moving on to the cornerbacks or defensive backs, I expect to have 5. So Terrion Arnold, DJ Reed, Amik Robertson, Rocky Sin, and Nick Whiteside. Of course, it depends. Of course, like Nick Whiteside, they might change him up maybe with Eric Hallett or someone else. Alan George, I know he played pretty well in the preseason, but I feel like they might keep Whiteside just because of his overall consistent play. He wasn't the greatest, but overall the preseason games he played solid throughout all 4. Compared to Alan George or Eric Hallett, where they have ups and downs. So we'll see on how they finalize the final cornerback positions. With safety, I expect them to have 4. Avante Maddox, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, and Lauren Strickland. Of course, we would have probably had Dan Jackson if he didn't get injured. And I expect them to have Dan Jackson on the IR to start the season, and as well as Ennis Rakestraw as well. And of course, our special teams, we have the 3 players, Jake Bates, Jack Fox, and Hadley. So overall, I think that's our 53-man roster. I think it's going to be a really solid team that we're going to have this season. I'm really excited to see how we play and how John Morton and Kellen Shepard operate and how they utilize our players. Of course, we're really excited to see how our defense operates.